Have you ever wondered what's actually going on inside an AI's mind? I mean, does it really think? It can feel like some kind of magic or, something straight out of science fiction. But the reality? It's way simpler and honestly a lot more interesting. So let's pull back the curtain and really demystify this clever helper we call AI. This quote from an AI character named Lumi just nails it. It's not about feelings, it's all about spotting patterns. If you can just hang on to that one simple idea, you've pretty much got the master key to understanding everything else we're about to talk about.
All right, so how does this clever helper actually learn anything? Well, the answer might surprise you. It kind of starts out like a little kid, learning to make sense of the world one simple shape at a time.
When you strip it all down, artificial intelligence is really just this. It's a system that gets incredibly good at finding patterns because it's been shown a ridiculous number of examples. It doesn't read a textbook. It learns by looking at millions and millions of pictures, articles, and sounds.
Okay, let's play a quick game to make this super clear. Imagine a friend of yours starts drawing. They begin with just a simple circle. Right now, it could be anything, right? A ball, the sun, maybe a plate. Your brain is just scrambling, trying to find a pattern with almost nothing to go on.
Then your friend adds two pointy ears right on top of that circle. And just like that, poof, your brain tosses out a bunch of those old ideas and starts zooming in on new ones. The pattern is getting so much clearer now.
And then comes the final piece of the puzzle, a few whiskers. Okay, now the pattern is pretty much impossible to miss.
Of course, it's a cat. You didn't need anyone to tell you that. Your brain just saw the pattern. And guess what? That is exactly how an AI works, just on a crazy massive scale. It looks at all the clues, matches them to the millions of patterns it's seen before, and makes its best guess. Okay, so pictures, that kind of makes sense. But what about something as complicated as language? How on earth can an AI understand and write whole sentences? Well, it turns out it's just another game of patterns, just a lot more complicated.
The cat sat on the... What? I'll bet a word just popped into your head almost instantly. For most people, it's probably the word mat. Your brain just did that automatically.
Now this is the really wild part. The AI has absolutely zero idea what a cat is, or what it means to sit. It doesn't have a mental picture of a cat on a mat. All it knows is that statistically, across the billions of sentences it scanned, the word mat is the most likely word to come next. It is pure prediction, not understanding.
And this right here, this is basically its entire toolkit. It's not some kind of magic, it's just math. It has a giant list of words, it remembers which word neighbors tend to hang out together, and it just counts to figure out which neighbor is the most likely to show up next. Simple as that.
So this brings us to a really important question. If it's all just patterns and probability, what about things like humor, or sadness, or joy? This is where the line between an AI and a human brain becomes crystal clear.
Check out this joke, as told by an AI. Why did the chicken cross the road? To maximize its efficiency based on travel direction. It's kind of funny, but only because it's so incredibly not funny. The AI sees the pattern of a joke, question and then an answer, but it totally misses the punchline, that human spark of surprise and wit.
And that's the core difference right there. When you see a sad face, you connect with it. You use empathy, your own memories, real feelings. The AI, it sees data points, the curve of a mouth, the shape of the eyes, and it matches those points to its giant database of images that are labeled sad. It identifies the pattern, but it doesn't feel the emotion.
Okay, so now that we know how it thinks, or, well, doesn't think, how can we actually use this to our advantage? If an AI is just a super powerful pattern-matching machine, it means the patterns we give it are incredibly important. We can get way better results just by learning how to talk to it better.
And the way we talk to an AI is called a prompt. You should think of it like giving someone directions. A vague prompt is like saying, go over there. But a specific prompt, that's like giving them a clear step-by-step map. The better the map, the better the journey.
I mean, just look at the difference here. Tell me a story is a total gamble. Who knows what you'll get? But tell me a funny story about a robot who lost his shoe? See? Now you've given the AI specific patterns to work with. Funny, story, robot, lost shoe. You've given it all the ingredients it needs to find the right patterns and build something really cool.
And you can take it even further with these 3 tips. Always think, who is this for? What format do you want? And how long should it be? So instead of just a story, you could ask, Write a short poem for a 7-year-old about a robot learning to swim. Now the AI knows exactly what you're looking for.
Okay, but, and this is a big one, you have to remember this, because an AI's only goal is to make a sentence that sounds right, it can be super confident even when it's completely wrong. It might tell you something like, oh yes, chocolate is a healthy breakfast because it grows on trees, just like apples. The sentence sounds plausible, but it doesn't follow the rules of reality at all.
And that leads us to maybe the most important takeaway from all of this. With all this incredible power right at our fingertips, it's really easy to forget who's actually in charge. The AI is the tool. Your brain is the boss.
You should think of AI like a calculator for words. It's an amazing tool to help you think, to brainstorm new ideas, to get a simple explanation for something hard, or just to check your spelling. But using it to write your whole essay or to copy answers for a test, that's not just risky, it's avoiding the whole point, which is to learn. Use the tool, don't ever let the tool use you.
So, after all this, we're left with one really big question. Now that you've seen how AI really works, by just guessing the next most likely pattern, not by understanding what's true, should you believe everything it tells you?
The answer is a clear, simple no. An AI can be a fantastic helper, a powerful assistant, and a brilliant creative partner. But you should never forget that your brain, with its amazing ability to reason, to question, and to feel, is and always will be the best truth checker you've got.